Hello, welcome to Ennara Reacts. Today I'm checking out another clip from Brandon Herrera, The Worst Internet Gun Fails 4. So let's see how it goes.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say you're not supposed to do that. What is up, you sexy YouTube mother lovers? It is in fact time to do another episode of the Darwin Awards. Now, as we said before on the channel, guns are awesome. Idiots are not. When those two things come together, some not cool stuff happens, and sometimes that means somebody wins a Darwin Award. Darwin Award meaning you have been removed from the gene pool. Now, the Darwin Awards is usually an opportunity for us to talk about gun safety and where certain people went wrong with things. Today we got some cool stuff on. I've got some stuff on catastrophic malfunctions. Super cool.
Oh,
can't wait to get into it. But first we have a couple of clips that are probably more in line with what you would come to expect from a video like this one. So let's dive right in. All right, so this first video we have on the lineup is Polish soldier gets hat shot off.
Okay.
Let's give her a crack. Training for some ceremonial thing, clearly. Nice little Polish AK underfolders, too.
Do salwy honorowej! Siema! Ładuj! Albo!
Holy crap.
Pal!
What a lad, though, continuing like nothing just fucking happened. See, they got a slow-mo here.
Holy crap. And then they go and do another shot?
Polish people are just fucking built different. People are talking about, oh my god, this guy got so lucky. Like, that bullet must have just barely tipped the hat and kept going. I don't think he would have really gotten lucky, because if you look over here, there's not a lot of recoil there. I think these are just blanks, especially if you're doing ceremonial shit. You're not actually just shooting up in the air
blanks.
with, 30 dudes in the field. Typically not a good idea. So the angles of those rifles, I'm thinking there's a pretty good chance
And
that if there were a
they're too
live
close
round
with
in
that
there,
line
he would have
behind
just
them.
painted the field with his comrade there.
Oof.
Jesus. Thankfully, though, it did look like they were blank, so you didn't turn this military parade into a military funeral. The next couple videos I've got coming up are something you actually can learn something from. Now, most of you experienced shooters know this, and you know exactly how dangerous it can be when somebody doesn't. Brass. Brass, once it's fired, it's pretty hot. Most rifles kick the brass out and away from the shooter pretty decently, but handguns can be a little sporadic sometimes. It's not uncommon for, a new shooter to be shooting, or even an experienced shooter, to be shooting a gun and then have brass go down their neck, or for ladies, you get the picture. It will burn the shit out of you, but it's relatively minor. However, you still have a live weapon in your hand. This is where shit can get a little tricky.
Team obtained this video showing an
Put the gun
accidental
down.
shooting at a shooting range in Geauga County Wednesday evening around 6:30.
That is an instance of somebody handling it very poorly.
Badly.
Let's see that again.
The Fox 8i team obtained this video showing an accidental shooting at a shooting range in Geauga
you should
County.
put it down
Wednesday
before you
evening
start trying to
around
shake the brass
6:30.
out your
I know
shirt.
he's caught off guard by the hot brass here, but he's making two big critical safety errors, because one, he's got his finger still on the trigger, which is how he was able to squeeze off another round. And two, he's, pay attention to what you're pointing at. Never point a gun at another human being. That's, basic gun safety for like a gun range. Definitely don't point it at yourself.
No.
Pro tip. I read more about his injuries. I think he went through one side of his cheek and out the other side. This dude straight up
Holy
Tyler
crap.
Durdened himself. It sucks. It's a
I'm not
shitty
familiar with
situation. I'm
Tyler
glad he's
Durden.
okay, and I hope it's a valuable lesson, and so a lesson for everybody, without having to go through the same shit that he did. Up next, what you know about RPGs. Now, we've talked about RPGs before on the Darwin Awards, but we got another one to look at today. We have what appears to be a soldier or militiaman of unknown origin to me, demonstrating the safety features on a loaded RPG-7.
I don't think you're supposed to do that.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say you're not supposed to do that. I mean, clearly you can, because he's doing it.
That's not a good
But
idea,
man,
though.
I don't really have that much faith in Russian safety features. I guess what he's trying to show off here is that there's a safety cap on top of the RPG rockets, that the rocket isn't technically live, and can explode until you remove that cap from it.
No.
Luckily, nothing bad happened to this gentleman, but rockets and explosives are something I just don't fuck around with.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Even still, you best believe if I find rockets for that thing, I'm not going to be doing this shit with it.
There is no
hope not.
time delay on this. It's this. Well, this one's a dummy, but real rockets. There's no time delay. If you were to take the safety cap off and go,
Oh, that was not a dummy.
Next up, we got a couple of videos of some catastrophic malfunctions. We're going to go over that, but first, these videos tend to get either struck, demonetized, or both, so it's time to thank our sponsor, first of all, for, making this video happen. Sponsor of this video is Jake's Mint Chew. Jake's Mint Chew is a tobacco-free dipping alternative. So if you're one of those guys who loves to dip, but you really don't like the cancer part, you might want to look into Jake's. Now, I never personally got into dipping, which means I never really had to quit, but they've got stuff for people like me too. Things like their CBD citrus, which basically gives people like us, gun people, all the benefits of things like CBD without all the downside of, being FPS Russian. If you'd like to check them out, I've got links down in the description and in the pinned comment. I even got a code for you.
Yes, Russian.
Because I love you. All right, so now we get down to the fun stuff, catastrophic malfunctions. Now that I say it out loud, not really fun at all, especially for the people involved. Catastrophic malfunction is when the gun fails, but not a normal failure, like a failure to extract or a failure to cycle. It's when it fails in a way that basically blows up the gun. Now, in previous episodes of the Darwin Awards, we've covered a couple of these, like the famous tainted ammunition detonating the AK. Leveling out the playing field, this first video is for a full auto AR-15.
Ooh.
Oh, shit.
What the? How did that happen?
Now, there's a couple ways this could have happened. Could have been the infamous 300 blackout sneaking into a 5.56 AR magazine. It could have been something completely different, but what is for sure is that upper went bye-bye. This guy's extremely lucky he was firing this from the hip and not putting that up to his face, because that might have been a much worse day. As we can see from the slow-mo here, that AR upper completely just detonates, goes every which direction. Goodbye to that EOTech. Oh, there it is. This is why you don't let Canadians fire your weapons. That's a joke, Canada. I love you. I don't love your gun laws or your politicians for the most part, but
Yeah.
you guys seem pretty cool. So that was an instance of a catastrophic malfunction that did not result in the injury of the shooter. That's fantastic. This next one we're going to show you,
ideally.
I know you've seen before, but we're going to come at it from a slightly different angle. This next video is probably now one of the internet's most famous catastrophic malfunctions. It's my buddy Scott with his RN50 detonating on him a couple months ago.
Oh! Holy crap! Even his safety glasses flew off his face.
So anybody
Why
who's
did it
seen
do
Scott's
that?
video knows the extent of his injuries, and he's lucky to be alive, and he's thankful to be alive as well. Fractured orbital bone, pierced lung,
Ooh,
pierced
ow.
jugular. The guy, I'm just happy he's still around. But let's see what we can learn from this particular accident. The sad part is, not a whole lot. You see, I can't actually point out anything that Scott did that was incorrect. He's following all the safety rules. He's using a weapon that he's fired multiple times before, shooting in a safe manner from a rest, shooting ammunition that he's been shooting all day. So he has no reason to think that this next round is going to be any different. And yet he's still the victim of a catastrophic malfunction.
Weird.
What he is lucky to have had is medical training due to his law enforcement background and his father there on site. Otherwise, he may not have been with us here today. So what really is the teachable moment here? Unfortunately, this is just something that comes with bolt actions or single shots, especially in this case. If something goes terribly wrong, especially on a 50 BMG, a single shot 50 BMG, even if you've done everything right in building that gun, Murphy's Law, something happens, there is nowhere for that energy to go but into the shooter. On a semi-auto, you have an entire receiver and a big-ass spring that is meant to catch the bolt carrier group. It stays in that track. It like the one that we saw of the catastrophic malfunction on the AR-15. The bolt carrier group was still stuck where it would have been had the upper still been there. the receiver caught the majority of the force, where there really isn't anything to catch the force here on these bolt guns. And I'm not saying that single shot weapons are necessarily bad either. I'm saying this is just something that you got to keep in mind. So even though you could be like Scott here and do literally everything right, shit still happens. The real thing to keep in mind is just be ready for the shit, because the shit is coming. That didn't come out right. This next video actually deals with kind of the same premise, but this time not in a 50 BMG, but instead a 7.62x54R Mosin Nagant.
In this video, you see him struggling with a stiff action. Then the unexpected happened.
Check the chamber, make sure the headspace and timing was correct and nothing was messed up. Put the 6th round in, lined up my shot, pulled the trigger.
Oh.
The action exploded.
Even though we have a much smaller caliber, that still looks pretty serious. I think the backstory on this one is this guy was actually a gunsmith, which is why he had the tools to, check, headspace and gauges and everything like that to make sure that it wasn't actually the rifle's fault. As far as the sticky action goes, that's kind of just a lot of Mosins. Unfortunately, it does look like he caught a good bit of shrapnel there. You see, it looks like his stock came apart. That's fucking wild.
Up here,
Why?
you see a lot of shrapnel from where it went straight up and it went outwards. Caught some in my face, obviously.
I love the action figure
Cheek
therapy
was swelled
t-shirt.
up pretty good. I just got up. Luckily, I was wearing my safety gear.
Another fine
Glasses.
example of why iPro is important. Having some form of iPro is probably the reason why both this gentleman here and Scott can still see today. That's another prime example. Mosins they're not as bad because they do
Although
have
on the last one,
the
his
charging handle there, and they've got a
safety
little
glasses
bit
actually,
more
like,
of a
flew
track
off
to
his
the
face.
bolt versus just a single shot like the RN50. It has a little bit more that captures the bolt if there was a catastrophic malfunction, but it's still not awesome when it happens. Now, he did also mention that he was shooting his own reloads, which definitely could have been the problem. Not saying definitively that it was. I have no idea this gentleman's level of expertise, but that's a pretty big variable. Or it could have just been another example of Murphy's Law. But at least it was 7.62x54R and not something bigger like 50 BMG, because when that happens on a bolt gun, it's, like said, never good. And the next gentleman learned that the hard way. This video I'm about to show you has actually been circulating around the internet for a couple years now and was the go-to example for what happens when a 50 BMG goes sideways. Already you know it's going to be a fucking crazy video. Live leak up there on the top left. I think it's his first round out of this new gun.
Oh. Holy crap. What
I'm going to
happened?
spare you the rest of the audio. You can find this on YouTube if you so desire. So the backstory here is this gentleman was out at the range shooting his new bolt action 50 BMG from, I think, Vulcan Arms. Notoriously shit rifles, and this guy unfortunately learned the hard way as to why. Thankfully, this gentleman did live, although he had to immediately be rushed to the hospital. So what apparently happened here was the bolt, after it detonated and freed itself, free willy at the locking lugs, went directly into the shooter's neck, which is a big fucking problem. Again, like said, when bolt guns and single shots fail, it's not really good, especially when you're dealing with a huge caliber like that. That's why, and something that I can attest to as far as designing the AK-50, you have to be very careful about the amount of lug contact that you have, the materials that you're using, the hardness spec, the heat treat, everything. It all has to work together or else you are shooting a bomb. Thankfully, like I said, the AK-50 is semi-auto, so there's an entire receiver there, recoil spring and everything that is meant to slow down and catch that before it gets to where the shooter is. So the semi-autos, like I guess the up-and-coming AK-50, the Serbu BFG-50A, the Barrett M82 and M107, those are all a lot safer just by being a semi-auto, but that round still is no fucking joke. I guess summing all that up with the catastrophic malfunctions, I am not railing against bolt guns or single-shot guns. I own a couple. What I am saying is you've got to keep this stuff in mind, which means you have to have a lot of faith in both the manufacturer of the rifle that you're shooting and the ammunition and where you got it from. Otherwise, you might end up being the accidental recipient of a Darwin Award. Anyhow, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it was at least a little educational for you. If videos like this can stop at least one person out there from taking that very uncool trip to the hospital or worse, then I consider this all worth it. Anyhow, thank you for watching all the way to the end of the video. Remember, if you're not seeing 2 videos from us every week, go ahead and check the channel and make sure that you're not missing our uploads. A lot of you guys saying you're not getting notifications, so not to worry, we normally upload either like Monday, Tuesday, or like Thursday, Friday. Got a lot of cool stuff coming down the pipes for you that I think you guys are gonna like. Anyways, that's all we got for today, and as always, I will see you sexy YouTube mother lovers in the next video. Thanks.
I mean, dang. I inherited a couple of bolt action things. One was a rifle and one was a handgun, just for, I think, mainly for target practice purposes. It's like a 22. I don't think I've ever actually tried to fire them. I just inherited them from my dad and keep them for posterity purposes, but scary. And not anything in particular he could pinpoint as to anything that they necessarily did wrong to cause it. So, Murphy. Sucks. If you got any recommendations for other videos or anything to watch, drop it in the comments. And remember to hit like and subscribe.